that's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you pick that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
Well, that's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine. A year has gone by, 2026, and I have another Superman for you. I know it's been a while, but I'm back with more. Superman, Red and Blue. A 6-issue series, which is essentially an anthology series, which is just a bunch of random short stories about Superman. The opening seems to be some sort of recap that I'm unaware of, but gives enough sufficient evidence of just showing whatever about some time that Superman lost his power due to stuff and was tortured for a bit, and Batman had to save him. Crazy. But even amongst that, we begin with Superman going to interview this guy that had tortured him, and he's not sorry. He doesn't take pleasure in it. He just kind of accepts it. That's what it was. And again, you see like an instance in like Clark's mind where he like totally shoots him and kills him. Of course he doesn't, and it's just a means of the goodness of Superman, even in that opening panel. The measure of hope. Hope. I guess I'm talking about spoilers. That's pretty much all I have to say. Non-spoilers, that it's just collection of short stories. I say issue 1, 5, and 6 were the best. 2 to 4, take or leave it. I don't know. Maybe I'd be a bigger fan if I was a big Superman fan. But I like Superman now. But I'm not super mired in the history and lore. So some of those, I knew who those characters were, but it wasn't clocking to me. If you get that reference, you're funny. But yeah, I'm not going to spoilers. Do I think it's as good of an introduction as For All Seasons? Absolutely not, except for one particular short story, which is perfect for anyone to understand Superman, his motivations, his dreams, his aspirations. There's one, and we'll get to that. But the rest of it, yes, but I think For All Seasons would be a better introduction. Maybe read this after, like I did. I'm getting to spoilers now. So we start with a measure of hope. Hope being a better tomorrow. This deals with Superman's fighting somebody. It doesn't matter. What matters is he tells the kid to run home so he doesn't get hurt. Which he wouldn't have run home so early if not for Superman. But by running home early, he came to see his mom injecting heroin into her arms. So they go to have this really realistic conversation. He's asking, why do you do this to yourself? And she says, yeah, I don't know, I'm not making excuses. It's hard to not do it. Hard to quit, but you can never start. You can never start. Don't do it. And later on, she goes on to die. And Superman takes it really hard. He goes and meets the guy, now older. And he says he wished he could have done more. He's sorry he didn't do more. And he doesn't blame Superman. He says, hey, I became rich or relatively wealthy. I have a fiance. And I help others because you inspired me. So, it just started off so strong with that. The boy who saved Superman, his home was going to be destroyed. Superman's down. He's out of it. And he takes Superman all the way up to the roof so he can have the sun beaming down on him. And his arm gets crushed. But still, he was a hero. He saved Superman so that Superman could save everyone. I thought that one was also pretty good. Colors of the World Stolen. This was a little bit more out there. This was a bit more... that wasn't the title of it, but this imp, maybe even the same thing from the Superman movie, where he's like, other people will take care of it. But it essentially takes all the color from the world And the world is relatively monotonous. It's fine. There's less bad stuff going on because the emotions that come from the colors are not there. So everybody's kind of mute and quiet, and it's fine. But it's not. It's dull. And so Superman talks to this thing, and it gives him back the color because it realizes this dimension needs it. And as he introduces more color, laughter and joy are brought back into the world, kindness, compassion, but also with that, with red you get love and compassion, but you also get anger, murder, this and that. When blue comes in, you get, the color of the ocean, so beautiful and great, but then you also have blue for sadness and mourning and stuff like that. And it was a bit out there, but it was still nice. Issue 3, the only thing I really had to say here was dinner with Bruce and Diana. Superman with Batman and Wonder Woman just hanging out as friends. And, they're talking about how, Clark promised to be here, and he will be, because he's very punctual about this sort of thing. But how many things get in the way of him getting here before he gets here like he promised? Because Superman has to save people. And I don't know, I just think it's really cute that they meet up every once in a while and eat. So. And one thing I took away from this one in particular was that Superman always tries. Whether it be at his job, with saving people, with keeping with his friends, and keeping his commitment to meeting up with his friends. He always tries. Just like we can always try. Another one I really loved was de-escalation. Cape was never needed to save the day. This one, a robber comes in while Clark Kent is somewhere, and he just talks him down. Tells him why he shouldn't do it. It was great. I'm going to skip ahead past a certain thing. I'm going to leave a link in the description because I'm going to show something. So you can go subscribe to this particular channel. But I'll show that in a second. But it perfectly encapsulates the entire comic run. But then we also have the special, which I thought was really good. It deals with the death of Jonathan Kent, but now Superman has his own kid. But it just shows this one diner lady who's basically spent her early 30s to being an old lady working at this like Denny's kind of place. And it just kind of shows Clark's life going back to that place in different stages. And she gets older and older. And to her, life is black and white because that's her whole world. It's just going to work, slaving away, going home. Her whole life has been at this place. And while things may be dull and black and white to her, she's not resentful, she's not depressed about it, she just accepts it. But there's one panel where Clark is looking at her, and she's full of color. And that's what he sees in her. And I thought that was really great. I also really enjoyed Son of the Farmer. Or Son of Farmers, but I don't have too much to say about it. Other than I really like the art. Lastly, I have the best one, but somebody did a sort of comic dub of it, which I want to share. Again, I'm going to leave a link in the description to the YouTube channel. But I had to share it because I think it just perfectly encapsulates everything. So I'll end it here. I'll see you in a moment. Actually, I think it's better if I just leave a link in the description to the thing, but you should definitely watch it. It is the best thing out of all of these 6 issues is what's there in the description, so please give it a watch. But yeah, another pretty good one. Like I said, issues 3 to 5 or 2 to 4 were kind of it was 1, 5, and 6 for me, which really hit home, but still really good. And if you want something short and sweet that again won't require an immense dedication on your part, then that's something you should read, especially if you like Superman, and I recommend it. in the world full of darkness that we have, I just got done with Blood Meridian, The Road by Cormac McCarthy, and I'll be reading the Prince of Nothing quadrilogy, the Second Apocalypse. And while being maybe mired in pessimism and sadness and depression and this and that, hope is always important to have. And hope is provided by Superman. Or at least he should be a source of hope amongst, we're so full of cynicism, so full of fear of what the future may hold. But there's times like these you remember fictional characters that speak to a reality that may be, but maybe we don't have, maybe we'll never be able to achieve, but that is certainly worth striving for. Now, I don't know about you, and I don't want to get on a soapbox, but I think the biggest issue facing us since 2015 onward, I was 14 in 2015. It's now 2026. By the time this video is out, I'll be 25. I'll be a quarter of a century. I will be an adult. The one thing this world desperately needs, especially America, is benefit of the doubt, some compassion, some empathy for whoever. Right, left, upside down, a triangle, a square. We need to stop seeing people as the enemy. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. You could be right, you could be left, you could be something in between. Realize that 90% of the population are not villains. 10% may in fact be supervillains that superheroes would stop. But the rest are just trying to figure it out. And whether it be Superman or Batman or Spider-Man, their first instinct would not be to attack. They would first talk. Well, Batman may beat you up a little bit, but he'll talk to you. He'll empathize with you. At least the true Batman would. Like Kevin Conroy's Batman. But Superman loves everyone. Regardless of religion or creed or race. Sexuality, doesn't matter. Oh, I will say, not to ruin this momentum of this, while I understand the message, that final story in issue 6 was a little silly. It just kind of felt like propaganda and not like, if it had just been a longer story, I would have appreciated it more, but it was like a couple panels. I get it, but you could have done more than you did. That's neither here nor there, though. Just treat each other with kindness. If you want a better world, it requires loving each other. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have those important conversations. But if you can't look at somebody else as a human being that is trying their best and just see them as the opposition, then Superman wouldn't be on your side. He sees everyone as beautiful and worthy of love. And he would try to make everyone better if they are willing to be. So always, and you know what, this may go back to the good book itself, but be slow to speak and slow to anger, quick to listen, quick to understand. Show empathy before rage. Will a better world exist? Probably not in my lifetime, and according to my beliefs, not till one man returns to make that possible. But even if you don't ascribe to that, if you want to make the world better, first start by being kind to others. Kindness is not the same thing as just being okay with somebody doing whatever. You can disagree, you can have strong disagreements, but you still must first act in love. if the world is ever going to get better, which I kind of doubt, but if it's possible, it will require that. So, today, tomorrow, be more like Superman. I'll leave it there. Till next time.